you feeling really depressed about your prolapse diagnosis? If you are, don't worry, I get it, I've been there, and you are in the right place. By the end of this video, I'm going to show you how you can actually feel way more hopeful about your prolapse diagnosis, and make sure you stay tuned to the end, because I'm going to be teaching you a process that we taught to our client Kareen in our Unshakable You program, and she was able to go on and heal a grade 2 prolapse at the age of 59, several years after menopause and decades after this so-called postpartum window of healing. This is our work. This is how I healed my prolapses. This is how we helped many members in our program, including our wonderful client Kareen, heal their prolapses. She even went on to climb a mountain, a huge mountain with about 3,000 steps a couple of weeks ago. And if you would like to join me on my free masterclass, where I walk you through a 4-step process that we teach in our Unshakable You program, click the link below in the description to grab your spot. Times are shown in your local time zone, or type the word masterclass into the comments and we'll send you a link, and we can't wait to see you there. Okay, let's get into the heart of this and the first thing you need to know. Just because large swathes of the population are demonstrating a situation such as prolapse not healing through no fault of their own does not make it true. There's this thing we do as human beings where we watch what other people do with their bodies and situations that happen, and we decide that that is then a fact and a truth. Whereas in reality, it makes it common, but it does not make it true. I've healed 3 prolapses, and many women in our program have healed prolapses, because we do not treat a prolapse as purely a physical issue here at Unshakable You. We treat it as an emotional, vibrational issue at root. And when you look at a prolapse in a wider context as something that got going emotionally years, months, sometimes decades before it actually manifested in your physical body, you introduce potential and hopefulness, and that's really important. Now, why do many people not heal prolapses? Because nobody has taught them this stuff, right? It's not their fault. Nobody has taught them quantum physics. Nobody has taught them the law of attraction. Nobody has taught them the mind-body connection. Nobody has helped them connect their past, recent past or very distant past in childhood, with what is happening right now in their body. And if I take my example, I was a health practitioner, a functional medicine practitioner, all the things for decades. And I still manifested through no fault of my own. When I say manifested, I am not saying that you are to blame or that it is your fault, just to be clear here. I even manifested a prolapse in my body knowing all of that. And that's because I didn't realize that my patterns of trauma from childhood, which I worked on for years with therapists and lots of techniques, was still playing out in every single area of my life. And as soon as I figured out the pattern that was playing out in my life, the emotional pattern that was running wild in my life, and I changed that and added in some cool practical protocols as well, and added in some cool physical protocols as well with my husband Duncan, my body fully healed. But it takes time. The average woman in our program heals between 6 to 12 months. 2 women have healed in 5 weeks, which blew my freaking mind. And interestingly, both of those women are women of faith. And their belief, because we're inclusive to everybody in our program, and their belief was that God put Duncan and I in front of them and they knew they would heal, which gives you, and their names are Rosalie and Sam, by the way, you'll find their amazing testimonials on this channel. So they already had an advantage in that they believed in something greater than them, and they believed they could heal. So something I hear all the time is women saying, what if I am the one person who doesn't heal? So they'll often say to me, Jenny, I get it that this is more than just the physical. I do believe emotions create in the physical body. In fact, I even believe in law of attraction. They might say, I don't understand it fully and I want to learn more, but I do believe it. But what if I am the one woman who doesn't heal? And if you think about that, that is actually the emotion of insecurity. So that's part of the pattern from which women get a prolapse in the first place. So the first thing I want to say is huge compassion for that thought. I know how that feels. But that is also a logical thought to have when you're hanging out at the bottom of the emotional scale in insecurity, in unworthiness. Perhaps your whole life you have never 100% gone for things that you really wanted to do. That was my story. Because you didn't feel quite worthy. You didn't feel like you were intelligent enough, outgoing enough, beautiful enough, slim enough. I mean, I could go on and on and on, right? These patterns get embedded, they become beliefs, and then we act accordingly to them. So let me break down the idea that you could ever be the one person who couldn't heal. So we are energy. We are 99.99999% energy. This physical, well, that's my top, but this physical bodysuit is a tiny percentage of what's going on here. It's often called the vehicle of the soul. So it's to help us move around on planet Earth, but our cells are connected to consciousness. So when I use the word consciousness, I mean the part of us that is not in this physical body, the part of us that is connected to the whole. And you can use your own name for that. Some people will use the word God, some people will use the word higher self, some people consciousness, Buddha, you use whatever name you want to use. But the part of you that is not the physical body is far greater than this physical skin suit. So yes, we have different personalities. Yes, we've had different experiences in life. Yes, we are different in some ways, but ultimately we are way more similar than different energetically. And that's a good thing to know. Because if we are all from the same energy source, which I believe we are, that means if I have healed and Corrine has healed and Rosalie and Sam, and I could go on, the others, you can heal too. It is just about following a logical sequence and a logical progression, which is authentic, not saying things you don't mean, changing your emotions, your dominant emotions from a place of insecurity and fear to a place of feeling contented 50% of the time. And I've tracked it because I am that way inclined. A bit of an A-type there. And your body will heal. So just because large swathes of the population are not healing in tons of Facebook groups all around the world does not mean you can't heal. Because you are here listening to this information. You have manifested me into your life. Right now you're a freaking amazing, badass manifester because you have manifested me telling you right now that you can heal, which means you are a match to hearing that. So great job. So don't allow the others, love them, send compassion to them because nobody's given them this information, but don't base their experience on your experience or your future experience. Okay, so that's the first point. The second point I hear everywhere, and people will often I don't join in the fight, but people will often try to fight me on this and will get very angry. And I understand that. I have a lot of love and compassion because I spent decades of my life feeling extremely angry. That was one of my big set points, revenge and anger. Always on the defense, always fighting at the world, fighting at, establishments in the world. Fighting at people who put other people down. I was always fighting against something, and although it might seem really noble, I wore that fight on my body, right? The push against things, that constant pushing up against resistance, I wore that stress on my body and it didn't do me any good in the end. So one thing I really want to say is that when you come across people telling you that a prolapse is a hernia, and that it cannot be healed, and people get really passionate about that, right? Or angry, you could say. And they will tell you ligaments don't heal and give up that kind of thinking of fascia doesn't heal. Well, if you're here right now listening to me, you're open to something else, right? You're open to a new perspective on this. So let's talk about fascia. So fascia is around about 70% water. If you don't know what fascia is, if you peel back the skin on, let's say, a chicken breast, you'll see this white stuff, this sort of white, it's like spidery material. That covers the entire human body. And we have sheets of fascia that go, for example, from the tip of your head to the tip of your toe. And this is a very watery, spongy, spiderweb type material, okay? And all over the place, people say you cannot heal this. Now, back in 2018 when I got my prolapses, because Duncan and I, this is my husband who created this program with me, he's Mr. Fascia Ninja, what I like to call him. Duncan and I worked for a Californian health institute for years, teaching people all over Europe about holistic health protocols. So, and we have a lot of friends who have labs or access to scanning equipment. And when I was diagnosed with 3 prolapses, I got one of our friends and colleagues to scan my pelvic bowl. Now, your pelvic bowl should be thick with fascia, right? It's a great supportive material for your organs. Now, your organs should, of course, sit in their nice position where they're meant to sit, but there should also be a lot of fascial support. And when this colleague of mine scanned me, we noticed that huge parts of the fascia were torn and broken, and it was so interesting that when I changed my patterns of thought and I changed my emotions, and over 9 months I shifted my entire being, who I am, who I was, how I thought, how I did everything, my body dumped huge amounts of fascia back into that pelvic basin. So it is my belief that the consciousness of your cells, which is connected to the whole, can create any physical reality that is required, any physical reality. I used to have about 90% bone loss on my upper jaw, to the degree that I needed an implant here because I lost a tooth when I was younger, and they couldn't even put an implant into my jaw because it was too soft. And then only last year I did end up being able to put an implant. I grew a lot of the bone back, by the way. I grew a ton of the bone back, and I have an implant in there now. But it was so interesting how your body continues to evolve and continues to improve, and you know, your bones become more dense the more stable you feel, and your ligaments become stronger the more stable you feel. So only a couple of months ago I went to see the dentist because I want to have a fresh crown on my implant, and he scanned the implant and he said, "You're not going to believe what I can see here." And I thought, I know what he's going to say. And he said, "You have actually grown bone over the implant." He said, "I have never seen this." He said, "In dentistry, it's actually considered impossible for bone to grow over the front of the material of the actual implant. Like normally it shrinks away and bone will not grow over." He said, "You've actually got 2 mil of bone over the top of the implant here. This is really secure. I've never seen anything so secure." And that doesn't surprise me, because I have seen some really wild things happen in my 20 years of helping people resolve health issues, because Duncan and I for years worked one-on-one with clients, helping them resolve all kinds of health issues before we niched in Prolapse in 2018. So I have seen all kinds of things. So I just want to reassure you that when you create the right environment for your body to thrive and grow, anything's possible. Okay, so at the start of the video, I said I would teach you one of the processes that is in our Unshakable You program, and it's one of the processes that Kareen, our incredible member who healed her grade 2 prolapse at age 59, has really come to love. And it's called the Focus Wheel. And again, it is adapted with thanks from the incredible Esther Hicks. Now, if you think about one of those old school, I mean, I was born in 1975, so if you think about one of those old school merry-go-rounds, we call them roundabouts in the UK, and I think in the US they're even called whizzy dizzies or something like that. I'm sure one of our members told us. But one of those things in the kids' playground or the kids' play park, that back in the day, those things were wild, right? They didn't have a braking system on them and they were fast. And if you think about it, if some of your friends got that merry-go-round or that whizzy-dizzy or that carousel spinning really, really fast and you tried to jump on, you would either get dragged around on your knees or flung off into the side. Now I want you to use that analogy for high speed, high energy, top of the emotional scale thoughts and emotions. What a lot of people try to do when they try to find new beliefs or transition their thoughts is they try to go too high, too positive, too soon. And positive emotion and positive thoughts have a really high frequency. They are spinning at a high frequency. And if you are coming in with your fearful, insecure, doubtful thoughts, and you try to say something like, my body's gonna heal, and you try to will yourself, or you tell yourself, I love myself, I'm beautiful, and you really hate how you look, or you are insecure, or you feel unworthy about who you are, you will get flung off. Vibrationally, metaphorically, you will get flung down the emotional scale into fear and into insecurity, and you will bake in those beliefs. In other words, you will actually make yourself feel worse. Try it. Stand in front of a mirror if you are someone who does not like your physical body, and tell yourself, I'm beautiful. Try and will yourself to say it. I tried this for years until I understood this stuff. You will feel awful. If you are sensitive to emotion, you will notice you feel awful. And this is what people are trying to do when they're trying to heal their prolapses all day long. They're trying to tell themselves things they don't believe, and you will get flung off the carousel. Okay, so this process is called the focus wheel process, and what it teaches you to do is focus and feel, and focus and feel. In the center, you go for gold. So in the center, you put how you would like to feel in the future, potentially 5, 10, 20 focus wheels down the line, not after one focus wheel. And all you are trying to do is transition your thoughts a small amount. You are trying to slowly find better feeling thoughts. Over time, this creates completely new sets of beliefs. Okay? So I'm going to take you through one. This is an actual process from someone in our program. You might be surprised to know it's actually on body image and weight loss, and you think, why is Jenny giving us an example of weight loss and body image when we're trying to heal a prolapse here? Because every single thought you think from the bottom of the emotional scale contributes to a prolapse, prevents it from healing. It's not just the topic of your body or your prolapse, it's everything. Your relationships, your work, your life, the way you feel about anything. So I'm going to show you how this amazing client of ours slowly transitioned her thoughts on this topic. Now, you might think, well, I could never come up with those kinds of thoughts. And you're absolutely right that when you first start a process like a focus wheel, it's like starting with a blank sheet of paper, like metaphorically, and obviously you also have a blank sheet of paper there. And why is that? Because now you're trying to create new positive thoughts on a topic you've probably predominantly felt negative emotion and thought negative thoughts about. So it is like driving down a brand new highway. It's like flying to somewhere in the world and all of a sudden now driving on a different side of the road, like we are right now in Canada. We're Brits in Canada at the moment, driving on the other side of the road, right? And that takes practice. At first it will feel like pulling teeth. You'll feel like a fish out of water. So reach out to us for help in the comments, or get on that masterclass with us so that you can receive our help and support in this kind of work, because Duncan and I have sat in front of clients and we've done this for ourselves for decades. So we're like a walking encyclopedia of better feeling thoughts on every topic for you. Okay, so this amazing client in the middle put, I feel confident. So obviously right now she does not feel confident, okay? At number one, her first statement is exactly where she is right now, and she wrote, I'm angry, my progress is so slow. Okay, that is vibrationally accurate. You've got to be real with where you're at. Now you focus and feel, and you relax, and you're just searching for a thought, takes practice, that feels just a tiny bit better than that one. Maybe this is just another thing which won't work for me. Now that kind of feels the same, right? It's still quite heavy feeling. It's quite similar to I'm angry, my progress is so slow. So it's authentic. We're on a similar sort of level there. Okay. Now feel a little bit of improvement in the feeling of this thought. Something about emotions and weight loss, you could even say prolapse, makes sense, right? Something about that makes sense. That feels a little better, right? We're transitioning our thoughts here. Here's a great one. It's worked for other people, so why can't it work for me? Very logical, we talked about it earlier. I'm close to believing my energy and my thoughts create my body. Now, isn't that great? Look how she's transitioned that. She hasn't said, I 100% know like I know, it's truth. All right, that's gonna get you all wadded up. That's gonna fling you off the carousel, off the roundabout, off the whizzy dizzy. It's too strong. I'm close to believing. That's soft. You know, I'd really like to believe. I'm on my way to believing. A great statement. Here's a good one. This statement takes all the pressure off. I don't have to do this all at once. I can take my time. Beautiful. Ah, feel the relief in that. Better to do it slowly and have it for a lifetime. Yes, exactly. Because this client here has been counting macros and dieting her entire life, trying to find quick fixes to get rid of the weight quickly, and then it always came back on. She did the same with her prolapse. Did all the things, all the strategies. She had about 6-7 practitioners she was working with at the time. All the things, locking them down, but nothing was changing emotionally. I'm being guided to this by my inner being, so it must be good. Great statement. So consciousness guided me here. It's all I have left to try. I can't face another deprivation diet. There you go. What I have been doing up until now has not worked. It is not logical. I continue to do that. I have to try another way. I've got to give this a go. Guys, if you are sitting there and you are in that situation right now, feeling like you've tried everything and this is all you've got left, that's a great place to be in, because it means you'll give it your all and you will pay attention and you will focus. I love to work with people who are in that situation because they are laser focused at doing what they've got to do. So if that's you, do not worry, it's your superpower right now. I'm going to give this a go. Yes! And that's where the focus will end it for her. Does she feel 100% confident yet, like she put in the middle? No. But does she feel more confident than when she started? Yes. Is more energy flowing? Yes. Is she on the way, if she keeps doing processes like this, to feeling extremely confident and to feeling unshakable and sure-footed? 100%. You have to transition your thoughts and your beliefs. Okay, I hope that helped. That's an example. Give it a go on any area of your life. If you have questions, drop them in the comment section, and we can't wait to see you on that masterclass. And if you're anything like our incredible client Corrine, you will, after a bit of struggle at first, that's normal, start to love this process. Corrine uses it almost every day in different areas in her life. So now she's healed her prolapses, and now she's looking at different avenues of making money. She's traveling around the world with her husband Kevin. She's excited about the future, and she's often using this focus wheel now in a very positive way to attract all the experiences she wants to attract towards her. I hope you enjoyed this video. Can't wait to see you next time.